In a small town, there lived a boy named Rohan. He was intelligent, full of potential, and had big dreams. He wanted to become a doctor, but there was one major problem. His mind was never under his control. Rohan lacked discipline. His thoughts wandered constantly, and he found it difficult to focus. Whenever he sat down to study, he would get distracted by his phone, social media, or simply daydreaming. He would often tell himself, "I'll study later. I still have time." But later never came. His parents and teachers tried to guide him, explaining the importance of focus and discipline. But Rohan never took their words seriously. He believed that intelligence alone was enough to succeed. One day, Rohan's school announced the results of a scholarship exam. He had taken the test with high hopes, dreaming of securing the scholarship that would help him achieve his goal of becoming a doctor. But when the results came out, he was devastated. He had failed. His friends, who had studied with dedication, passed with flying colors. His teachers, who once praised him, looked at him with disappointment. Rohan felt ashamed, not because he wasn't smart, but because he knew deep inside that he had wasted his time. That evening, he sat alone, reflecting on his failure. He thought about all the hours he had wasted on distractions. He realized that intelligence alone wasn't enough. Without discipline, success was impossible. Determined to change, Rohan decided to seek advice from someone who had mastered self-discipline. Rohan had heard about a wise monk who lived on the outskirts of the town. People said he had once been an ordinary man, but had transformed his life through sheer mental discipline. The next morning, Rohan visited the monastery where the monk resided. He found the old monk meditating under a tree, his face radiating calmness. Rohan bowed and said, "Master, I struggle to control my mind. I want to be successful, but I keep getting distracted. Please teach me how to discipline my mind." The monk opened his eyes and smiled. "Ah, the restless mind. That is the greatest challenge of all. Come, let me tell you a story. Many years ago," the monk began, "there was a young man named Veer who dreamed of becoming the best archer in the kingdom. He was strong and talented, but he lacked focus. His mind was always scattered. One day he would practice diligently, and the next day he would waste time with distractions. One day, Veer went to a famous archery master and said, "I want to be the best archer. Please teach me." The master took Veer to a riverbank where the water flowed steadily. He handed Veer a bow and arrow and said, "Shoot at that leaf floating in the river." Veer aimed and released the arrow, but it missed the leaf. The master asked, "What did you see when you aimed?" Veer replied, "I saw the river, the trees, the sky, and the leaf." The master shook his head and said, "That is your problem. Your eyes see too many things at once. A true archer sees only his target and nothing else." Determined to learn, Veer practiced for months. He trained his mind to focus only on the target. Eventually, when the master asked again, Veer answered, "I see only the leaf." And this time, when he released the arrow, it hit the target perfectly. The monk looked at Rohan and said, "Your mind is like Veer's. It is distracted by everything around you. If you want to succeed, you must train your mind to focus only on your goal." Rohan nodded, understanding the lesson, but he was still unsure how to apply it. "Master, how do I train my mind?" The monk smiled and gave him 4 simple rules. 1. Control your thoughts. Every time your mind wanders, bring it back to the task at hand. Just like the archer, see only your goal. 2. Create a routine. A disciplined mind needs structure. Set a daily schedule and follow it strictly. 3. Remove distractions. Identify what steals your focus, be it your phone, TV, or unnecessary activities, and eliminate them while working. 4. Be consistent. Mental discipline isn't built in a day. It requires daily effort, just like an athlete trains his body every day. Rohan took the monk's advice seriously. He made a study schedule and followed it strictly. Whenever his mind wandered, he reminded himself of his goal. He stopped using social media while studying and even deleted unnecessary apps from his phone. At first, it was difficult. His mind resisted discipline, craving distractions. But Rohan didn't give up. Day by day, his focus improved, and he could study for hours without losing concentration. Months later, when he sat for another important exam, he was prepared. This time, he didn't just pass, he secured the top rank. Rohan's success wasn't due to luck or intelligence alone. It was his disciplined mind that led him there. He finally understood that success is not about how smart you are, but how well you control your mind. Years later, as he stood on the stage, receiving an award for academic excellence, he remembered the monk's words. The mind is like a wild horse. If you don't control it, it will take you where it wants. But if you train it, it will take you exactly where you want to go. And from that day, Rohan lived by one principle: discipline your mind and success will follow.